Oh, fuck.
So,
Okay.
Oh shit. All right, ready?
yeah.
Get the intro, dog.
And welcome back to Rough Draft Research, everybody.
Hey.
We are Rough Draft Research. You are the audience, joining each other on a quest of Dynasty domination. Not that I would know anything about that, but Daniel won a championship this past year, so round of applause.
Go.
Did you get any chips this year, Christian?
Of course I didn't.
Yeah, me neither. Never.
I just lose in the first round of the playoffs. That's what I do.
Well, but at
That's
least you
my
get that.
thing.
At least you get that bye week. So you
I do
at least
get the
make
bye
it,
week,
You make it to the
typically.
second round, technically.
I just lose in my first week
Right,
of the
right.
playoffs every year.
I don't know why mine says 2024 first. It should just say 107. That's like
It's just right in there every
Same.
year.
No, mine just
107.
should say insert someone else's name owns
Yeah,
Croonin for
yeah.
Poons 108. So
feels
anyway,
accurate.
Croonin for Poon, my name. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. We're finally here. We're at the end. We're at the Final Four. So we're gonna do the Final Four and the championship. So I'll hand it over to Daniel. We'll talk about the fallen soldiers of the Elite Eight.
The Elite Eight was pretty tight. If you missed
Yeah, it
it, stop, reverse, proceed. Yeah, we lost a couple of badass dudes, and it was Jackson Smith and Jigba. He couldn't make it. Pair of quarterbacks, the big dogs, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, they got left behind. And then Tajay Spears, who some mad crushes are going down on. He could not get to the last couple of matchups here. So instead, I'm going to throw them all out there. We got Jahmyr Gibbs. He's going up against Bijan Robinson. And then we got Zach Charbonnet up against Zay Flowers. So those are the two banger matchups. And damn, I don't even know where to start, man.
Yeah, I don't
know
either.
where to start. But it doesn't matter where we start. How about we do the lower seed guys? How about we do Zach Charbonnet
Okay.
up
Okay.
against Zay Flowers? So Zach Charbonnet, he is the sole survivor of the blue bracket. He was third ranked, and he's up against Zay Flowers, the sole survivor of the red bracket, was second ranked.
Yeah. So interesting. We got a wide receiver running back matchup here, and I think our bias is about to show during these finals. But I gotta go Charbonnet here, right?
Ooh,
Yeah, man.
I do
He
love
gives
Zay
up.
Flowers.
Damn, when's the last time a 3 seed made it to the ship, bro?
Ooh, it's impressive.
Yeah, this is actual madness.
Good job, Charbonnet. So let's hit on Zay Flowers. Early on in the year, this was a guy I was pretty high on. Still pretty high on him. Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College, 5'9", 182 pounds, 22.6 years old. Was a workhorse for a pretty bad Boston College team. Pretty much the lone bright spot this year. 124 targets, 78 catches, 1,077 yards, almost 14 yards per catch, and 12 touchdowns. This guy has elite elusivity. Like, this dude, if he doesn't want you to touch you, you're probably not gonna touch him unless you have help. He's just incredible. He has deep threat speed, absolute incredible separation skills, and he knows how to handle high usage. Like I said, he had 124 targets last season on a fairly not great team. So he was like the one guy that was getting tons of work. Really, it's just the size that's an issue for him. Obviously, 5'9", 182 pounds isn't gonna blow the isn't gonna be great when you're looking at it for sure. He's never truly had elite level wide receiver production. I think the quarterbacks could be part of the issue there in Boston College. Less so him, but regardless, he's only had one season of 1,000 yards, and he had 9 drops this past season. So those are just kind of quick highlights of Zay. But man, he's so quick with his feet, both in his route running and with the ball in his hands, man. He can just literally just get out of any situation he needs to be, bounce all around. Like he's really, really fun, really, really exciting to watch that way. He's got really, really strong and like smooth hands. He likes to do that late hands thing a lot where you're waiting for the ball to drop over top, throw them out at the last second. Kind of counteractive to the 9 drops to say he has strong hands, so we got to figure out what was going on there. But you know what? Like he just plays the position like that. It reminds me a lot of how I felt about a guy like Jahan Dotson last year, where it was just like the smoothness at which he plays and moves is what gets me really excited about him. He's not afraid to block either. I like that. I don't know how well it's going to translate for a 5'9" guy who's 182 pounds in the NFL trying to block people, but he's not scared of it. I'll tell you that much. He's scrappy. Like every play that he's supposed to be blocking, he's out there trying to throw somebody on the ground. So like he throws in the effort, man, and that's all you can say. You gotta fight with what you have. So that's as long as he's willing to kind of go out there and block, that's going to be a huge sign for coaches for him. And you know, like I look at a game like him against Louisville. It kind of showed off like really all the kind of aspects of what he wants to do. He had a 50-yard touchdown where the defender was just all over him, like just like in front of him. It was double coverage, running up the middle of the field. Guys in front of him, guys behind him, nowhere to go. At the last second, Zay just slips in front of the defender in front of him, snatches the ball away, and it's a touchdown. Like smooth as silk. Not like didn't even see it coming, just over. And like if you can do that, it's not going to matter. Then same game, he has a 70-yard touchdown that he catches out of the slot where he catches the ball, and I shit you not, I paused it and I took my phone and I went like this. He was the length of the phone away from him on the screen. I have a 27-inch monitor. He's the length 6-7 yards away from the guy that's supposed to be covering him. And like you didn't even see it happen because it was one of the ones where he like runs up the slot and then he disappears off the screen until you see him again after the ball is thrown. And when he catches the ball, he's just 7 yards away from the nearest guy. It was incredible. And it was that ability to separate and use the burst that he does have to just completely erase somebody out of the game. Like that dude was nowhere near him. Touchdown, clear as day. So you know, like he has issues. His size is an issue. I gotta say, I thought his route running wasn't as crisp to me this time. Still really, really good. I just think he could do with like coaching up, maybe getting a few like extra movements to kind of like maybe throw people off a little bit. It's very much a like copy and paste, almost like very, very clean route running, but it's not like there's not a lot of like originality to it necessarily. But if he could just add in there, that would get him even more separation. And I think he could be even more deadly. And it's really just the size, man. Like, if he can play above his size, I think he has a chance to be like 1 or 2 in the receivers of this class. Like, I think he's that good. He may never be a true number 1 in the NFL because of his size. Like, somebody like Steve Smith did it. Steve Smith was a lot more physical than Zay Flowers. So if Zay could maybe develop that, he may be able to be a true number 1. But even if he's not, I think he has the potential to be one of the best, if not the best 2 in the league. So like, I think he could still be highly fantasy productive, but you know, like the size is an issue and like that could kind of derail his career. I have a feeling consistency, I think, will be his kind of issue because a guy that size that's built around separation, built around speed, he can get erased sometimes. So I think you're going to have like typical to like think of Deshaun Jackson where he'll drop a 30-point game for you, but then kind of go away for 2 weeks where you don't really see him. I could see that happening with Zay, but I do think Zay is going to produce quite a bit in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. Really enjoyed watching him. He's like a busybody, you know. It's just like moving and grooving, and the shake and bake, the speed and the wiggle is just like insane. He was just embarrassing guys out there, and I like that he played out wide, even though he's real small. I think that lends him to like a versatile role in the NFL. Like you're saying, he could be a number 2. Possibly a number 1, as long as he stays healthy and finds a way to overcome having that smaller frame. But I mean, I know why you love him. I see player profile over here. got him up with Jahan Dotson. So
Oh, do they?
it's
That makes
that's
sense.
comparable. So
I guess that made it make sense. I made that comparison as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I think it makes sense. Like they're very similar, like smaller guys, but just delete people essentially with their separation skills. Like it's fun to watch.
hell yeah, man. Well, I'm excited to see if I think he feels like a guy who could sneak higher in the draft than we expect. And
Yeah, I think he goes in the first round for
Yeah.
sure. I think
cool,
so.
cool. Well, it's awesome, man. I'm pumped, man. The draft is coming up, fellas. What are you gonna do?
8
gonna
days.
Hey, join us for the live draft.
That's
Yeah,
right.
live
Live stream first
next
round,
week.
baby. I'll be wearing shirts I'm pulling straight out of my freezer to keep me cool down. It's gonna be pretty outrageous. But speaking of outrageous, we got the blue and the green facing off here in the final four, and we
Orange and the green.
I am dyslexic and just not doing well today. It doesn't matter what color they are. There's only 4 people left, and 2 of them are Jahmyr Gibbs, Alabama running back.
Hey,
Yeah.
Former Georgia Tech.
Former Georgia Tech running back. And then you've got Mr. Texas himself, Bijan Robinson, who needs no introduction. Or does he need an escort to the championship because he's winning this one?
yeah.
So, but yeah, here we go. Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs. Got to say, I like the guy a lot. So let me just get into everything I love about him. First off, dude's quick. He's real fast. He ran that 4.36. And yeah, if it wasn't for Devin A. Chain, it would have looked like some historic stuff. So he was second fastest, but still like 99th percentile on the speed. So you got to love that. For him, the age is not a big deal either. He's right around 21 years old right now, and he is 5'9", 199 pounds. So if he just ate like 5 Snickers bars, Christian wouldn't be grimacing at him right now. So he's so close to 200 pounds that I can feel it. But I'll give him the good size back. But looking at the stats, as I've mentioned many times, not intentionally, he did play for Georgia Tech for a couple of years before going to Alabama. But what he did there, I was impressed with. Right, he had about 1,200 yards as a freshman, like his second year freshman. And it was 750 on the ground and about 450 through the air. And I thought it was pretty balanced, compared to what I was expecting from him. And I also was shocked that Georgia Tech is in the ACC. What the hell? So I was like, yeah, Georgia Tech, small school. Apparently it's in the ACC. I'm just not a huge fan enough to know that. But the competition level was good. It got better when he went to the SEC. Last year, he had 926 yards on the ground, 7 touchdowns, and 44 catches for 444 yards and 3 touchdowns. So 10 all-purpose touchdowns is kind of a lower number, but 6.1 yards per carry on the ground was pretty good. So that's where I'm at with him. I think it's like his game was a lot more balanced than I expected when I started to dive into it. I know he's fast, and I know people talk about him as a pass catcher. So when I saw the running game kind of popping off, I was pretty impressed to see that, and I was excited. It made me more excited to see that. And in one game I really liked watching was the Texas A&M film. This is a game that Bryce Young missed, and Alabama only managed 111 passing yards in 18 attempts. So what's going to happen, right? The defense knows what's headed their way. They got just a running game. And so this pass catching back, Jahmyr Gibbs, who's, sharing the workload. Let's see what he can do when the defense knows what's coming at him. And boom, he hit the ground running. He ended up finishing with 154 yards on 21 carries, so 7.3 yards per carry. Ooh. And I thought it was really impressive. He showed a lot of grit, man, and like hard grinding out short runs, just like hitting with maximum effort, waiting for a nice block to give him a break or a hot cutback to give him a lane. And just watching him run with that intensity every play and then like breaking off the big chunks really impressed me. Now, I know some of you die-hard SEC people are like, well, Texas A&M has the worst run defense in the SEC, so maybe that has something to do with it. But if you go back the previous week when Bryce Young got injured, it was up against Arkansas. They're the fourth best run-stopping defense in the SEC, and Jahmyr Gibbs ended up with 206 yards in that game after they knew what was coming for him. So I'll tell you one thing, that a pair of touchdowns accounted for 148 yards in that game. And that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm seeing with him. He's just like hitting the line hard. And if he gets 2 yards, he gets 2 yards. But he's going to get those 70-yard gains all the time. He's a hard runner, and he's badass, man. He excelled as a receiver, and we all know that. It wasn't very many touches. Like, he wasn't like a huge bell cow because he split pretty much 50-50 with another running back at Alabama, which gives you a little bit of concern. But the way he ran, it made sense, with the big hits and just keeping him fresh. I think that at the next level, he could probably manage to do a similar role where he's mostly receiving, but has about 50% of the workload, like a 1B type situation, third down back. But I think that he could crowd out another guy. I think if he had been at Alabama for multiple years, he would have overstepped and had more of a run share. But when you hit the backfield and this guy's already been there and it's your first year, stuff happens. But I will say I was sad, 7 touchdowns on the ground. But if you look at the numbers, only 151 carries, that's still a 5% TD rate. And I'll take that. That wasn't too disappointing if you ask me. But I just think he's a juggernaut, man. Just the way he runs decisively and uses his speed. He really plots and processes quickly. He's got strong vision, and the cutbacks are where he really wins. He just has like a polished way of like pushing into a run and then cutting back and just getting clean. And he explodes. He hits his speed quickly. And like I said, man, he's a 4.36. Like it's disgusting. And once he breaks to the next level, he can break through contact well, and he's really focused on pushing upfield. He's not one of those guys that is like racing to the edge every play. Like, he is efficient with his energy, and he runs downfield all the time. I actually think if he worked on that a little bit with his speed, he could probably improve his game even more if he could work into that, get to the edge, because he's such a downhill runner. But when you have that kind of speed, you gotta, if you can use the boundaries as your friend, you can be that much better. So I don't know if his power level is going to be instant success in the NFL, but I think he's got all the skills it needs to be on the field. And I think the energy at which he hits every play with is going to propel him into a successful role at the NFL straight up. So he's no Bijan Robinson.
But man, he's so electric, and he's like one of the best dual wide receiver threats I think we've seen, or not wide receiver, dual receiving threats that we've seen in a while. Like 400 yards is really, really good for a running back on a new team through the air. Like, that's nice. And like, he doesn't even like look at somebody like Alvin Kamara's career. Alvin Kamara never had 1,000 yards, has still to this day never had 1,000 yards in the NFL. But he's an elite fantasy producer because he always has 1,500 plus total yards, like all-purpose yards. And I think that's like what Gibbs could do. Like, he's so electric. So he's probably the most fun running back tape to watch. Like, not the best necessarily, but like electric, just like you're saying. It used to either a 2-yard gain or a 70-yard touchdown. Like it's so much fun, and he's so electric that I agree. I think he's going to translate pretty well into the NFL, something like a Jamal Charles or even like a Chris Johnson type career, something like that. I think would be a lot of fun for this guy.
So this guy said Jamal Charles. Damn, that's beautiful, man. Well, shit. I mean, what's all this excitement about? Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Fucking championship is here.
Woo! We're here. We've made it. Oh no. Well, it's gotta. it's fairly anticlimactic, but it's Bijan, right? Like,
Yeah. Zach Charbonnet versus Bijan Robinson, and Bijan is the champ. I mean, he's been the champ. He was a champ before the season started. He's a champ now before the draft. It is what it is, man.
sometimes it's written, but that's not the point. The point is we hit all the guys. Anybody you could want, we talked about. They've been in here. We've got 2 left, though.
Except for Zach Evans.
Do you want to go back to back? Oh, yeah, except Zach Evans. Do you want to go back to back, hit Charbonnet since he loses, or do you want to take a break? I can hit Bijan, even though we crowned him, and then we can hit Charbonnet as the runner-up. How do you want to do it?
Man, I'm gonna go back to back, dude. I'll just
All
do
right.
it. I'll just
Let's
make
do
this
it.
happen. So yeah, I mean, AJ knows. He already knows. I've been talking about Zach Charbonnet for a long
This
time.
is your first round pick last year.
I know, man. And
He decided to go back.
yeah, I went back to college. Actually, I got double. Well, it's like 2 years in a row. I traded to get Chris Olave in 2020, and he went back. And then I traded to get Zach Charbonnet last year, and he went back. And then now it's storming and all kinds of stuff. I was going to get some.
Stop trading for first and stop buying college jersey shirts.
All right, you got it. I was going to get some Chardonnay and some Cabaret and then mix them together. And then Charbonnet, drink it. But
There it
there's
is.
Pinky. I'll make it happen one of these days. Didn't happen today. But I'm telling you, man, I'm not sure what the debate is. I love you, Jahmyr Gibbs, but I got Charbonnet as my number 2 back in the class. And
Ooh,
it
okay.
just shows here he made it to the championship. So he did start his college career out with Michigan. And then he transferred to UCLA. But everyone wants to know, man, if he went back for his another year, how old is he? He's 22 years old right now. He's a little older than the rest of these guys, but not much older. He'll be 22 and a half by the time the season starts. Size is great. Speed is there. All right, I'm going straight to the stats, baby. So at Michigan, his freshman year, he was on the field with Hassan Haskins, a guy we're all familiar with, and they actually split the carries pretty evenly. And then Zach Charbonnet was actually way more efficient than him, but something happened and he was less utilized going into the 2020 season. So he said, "I'm out of here. I'm going to UCLA where they appreciate me. They got something brewing over there. So let me jump in on that." And so once he got there, he just took off. It was crazy. I mean, that season I fell in love with him. It was just over 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns. He did some pass catching. And then this last year, it was fewer carries, but way more yards. It's 1,350 yards on 195. So that's 7 yards per attempt and 14 touchdowns. And there's not much I don't like about him, man. Like, seriously. And the things that I do love about him are his size and the use of his size. He is 6 foot, 214 pounds. And I'm surprised by that because I'm looking at this guy and he's thick. I'm thinking 214 pounds, that's just the thighs. But whatever, man. I'm not going to argue with professional scale weighers.
Measurers.
That's not what I'm here to do. But he packs a punch is what I'm trying to tell you. And he's mean, man. He lowers his shoulder, and he always pushes through contact. He's just making it impossible for guys to take him down. And that's what I'm talking about. He's routinely wrapped up and just plays right through it. He keeps driving and manages to break free. And it's disgusting. There's a carry against California. It's 4th and 2. He gets the ball handed to him, and he gets hit. Hit behind the line of scrimmage, full stop, pushes through, and then he gets to the line of scrimmage, gets hit, crashed into by 2 defenders, full stop, pushes, gets the first down. It's like, it's the stupidest shit I've ever seen, man. Like, you can't make this up. It's outrageous. And then this kind of running is what gives him 4.15 yards after contact per attempt. It's like pretty much, it's incredible, man. It's high end. So everything I'm telling you about that play sums up the things that I'm just insanely in love with. The fact that he has that much power from a zero state is incredible. And that's his whole game, right? Whether he's stopped by a defender, You know, whether he slows down to change direction or whether he stops to make a guy miss, he never seems to lack momentum. He's always got the power he needs to make the play happen, man. He's always falling forward on a tackle, and he's squirrely, you know, for his size. He's got quick feet. He makes nasty cuts, and he makes guys miss in space. I just don't know what there is not to like about this guy. And I love watching him play. It's just fun. He talks with his hands, man. He's got like a very wax on, wax off kind of approach to running, man. It's something old school about his game, but it's not one dimensional. He's got power and agility and start stop speed, and he can race to the edge. And I mean, all of that doesn't even take into consideration that he was a solid pass catcher, you know, 2 years with UCLA, and he had 61 catches for over 500 yards. And that's with the average depth of target of negative 0.9 yards. So he's getting these balls and just crushing it, man. He's getting like 8 yards per catch, catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage all day. So I think that he could improve his route running as a catcher. Obviously, they're just doing screen passes over to him, but there's the sky's the limit with this guy, and I don't say that as often as I used to. So get at me, man. What's up?
No, I'm 100% with you. I like Charbonnet a lot. I think I have Gibbs ahead of him a little bit, but to me, it's Bijan and then like 2A, 2B. Like Gibbs and Charbonnet are right there. I don't have a problem with either one of them, really. The only thing I think the reason I have it in that order, I feel like Charbonnet's like ceiling may be just a little lower than Gibbs, but his floor is higher than Gibbs as well. Like I think Charbonnet is just kind of sitting in this area where his ceiling's really high, but his floor is really high, and his ceiling is pretty high, but they're like close together. Like you're gonna get this. You're gonna get 1,200 yards, about 10 touchdowns almost every single season from Charbonnet, unless he gets hurt. That's my opinion, and that's gonna be great. You know, like it's gonna be solid, high level production at all points. Just maybe never have the season where he has 1,500 yards on the ground, 800 through the air, and 20 touchdowns. Like, I don't know if that's ever going to be Charbonnet, but it could be. Like, he has the talent. He has the vision. He rounds everything out. He's like one of the most complete. I mean, again, Bijan Robinson's in this class, so it's hard to say that, but he's one of the most complete all-around runners in this class in terms of like vision, speed, size, receiving ability, power. Like, he's got all of it, and it's just really fun to watch. And I'm with you. I like Charbonnet a lot. I think it's those three guys, and then Spears and Miller and kind of this second group that kind of lead as far as the running backs go for me. So yeah, Charbonnet should have a great career, but a guy that probably going to have a bit better of a career and has won our tournament, and you probably knew it was going to happen from the jump. It's Bijan Robinson, and so let's just get into it. You know, Bijan, he's the running back out of Texas, 5'11", 215 pounds, 21.2 years old, so not even 22 years old yet. That's a really positive sign as well. 1,580 yards last season, averaging about 6 a carry, 18 touchdowns, 314 yards through the air, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He ran a 4.46 40. That's 87th percentile, 89th in his speed score, and he had an 82nd burst score percentile. He's just crazy, man. The elusiveness and size combination is something you don't typically find on a guy like this. A guy that's 215 pounds and can truck people like Bijan does and carry people like Bijan does should not be able to move the way Bijan does. 104 missed tackles forced last season, 104 of them. That's 100.
Jesus. 3
numbers, 104 missed tackles. That was first in the nation, obviously.
Yep.
It was per attempt. Missed tackles per attempt was 0.4. So he was third in the nation, almost a half a tackle per attempt. He was making people miss. 1,071 yards after contact. That was 4th in the nation. 4.2 yards per 4.2 yards per attempt after contact. So that was 11th in the nation. And mind you, everybody knows that Texas is giving it to Bijan Robinson, and he's still putting these numbers out. 314 yards receiving on the year with 0 drops. And this is the craziest number about his receiving. An average catch of 16 and a half yards. 16 and a half. That's a wide receiver number. What are we doing here, Bijan? And I guess if you want to talk about fumble or talk about negatives, like he's had 6 fumbles in his career. Like that's kind of a lot, I guess. That's it. That's really it. I mean, like you can nitpick if you want, but there's just nothing that Bijan does like bad, certainly, but even like average, really. He's above average to me everywhere. All of his traits would at least be like an 8, 7 or 8 on any scale, like vision, power, speed, and then they're all some of them are going up to a 10. His fantastic vision and like know-how of the position allows him to take full advantage on every play of every single yard. You know, you'll hear it all the time, like, man, that running back, he just knows how to make one more move to get that extra yard just to grind that out. Well, Bijan does that, but every time he makes the one last move, he gets 3 extra yards, it seems like. It's just insane. He just makes one little move, boom, he's got 5 more yards, and now it's a first down. He's a threat in the receiving game. He rarely gets erased from a game, even though everybody knew Texas was going to be handing him the ball a million times a game. Only 3 games this season were under 100 yards. One of those, he was averaging 7.1 per clip. He just only got the ball 10 times. So that one would have been over 100 yards. The other 2, a bit more troublesome. Against Alabama, he went 21 for 57. Against TCU, he went 12 for 29. That one was just a really weird game. The final score was like 17-14. I don't know what happened there. It was odd. But on the flip side of that, every other game this season for Bijan was over 100 yards. 7 of those games were over 130 yards, with 2 of those games being over 200 yards. And both those games were, weirdly enough, against Kansas teams, because fuck Kansas, I guess.
Yeah.
But, hey.
Murdered.
We were at that game.
We were at the fucking KU game, dude.
Oh, were you? Oh,
we didn't go to the second half. It was fucking cold.
Dude, that was 250 yards and 4 touchdowns, basically in the first half. Like he was icing his ankles in the second half. It was ridiculous.
Completely annihilates an entire team by himself. He just has complete control over his body. And on Wednesday, we talked about Tajay Spears, and I likened him to like water flowing through a river.
Yeah.
Bijan is just as smooth, but every step he makes seems so calculated and impactful and surgical almost. It's like it's pre-planned, but it's not. And every time, in opposite to Spears, where everything feels flowy, it still feels flowy to me with Bijan, but every step just seems like he's going to crater in the earth when he does it. Like he just runs with so much purpose and so much intention that he just looks unstoppable. He's surgical the way he does it. And honestly, it's so much fun for a guy like me to watch that just loves the running game. This guy's so natural. It seems like he always knows the best move to make or the best angle to take. And at the end of the day, what else could you want from your running back than that? You know what I mean? Like I think he's going to be like the top running back in the league for several, at least, running backs don't last super long. So 5 to 6 years probably, but it's this dude. Get ready for it. It's going to be him.
The next Zeke Elliott. Here you go. You're in it first. I'm doing a lot of high-level comps. But, yeah, man, good luck with your 2 101s tanking for frickin' Bijan over there. Yeah, I'm just glad I stole the 1-1 from you last year. Get a little bit of slice of freedom over here. But, yeah, you're saying it. I mean, speed control, limitless, directional agility. Just a patient runner that makes things look easy and chooses the best lane all the time. And then he's, 16 yards per catch. Yeah, that's the kind of open space, just insanity that he brings. We talked about the KU game. So, I mean, that's it, man. Freaking Bijan wins, of course. If you don't know, we don't have any Grey Poupon. That's Christian. He's got the 1-1. All the Bijan you could ever want.
Yeah. Yep. I'd love to get him in for the belt, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, yeah, that 1-1 already changed hands. Whatever. You know what? Cut credits. No, I'm just joking.
Live stream next week though. It's exciting. Wrapped up the most important part of the year. Now it's the fake draft that we get to talk about.
Yeah.
No, it's fun.
I'm excited. I mean, that episode will be uploaded on time because it's in real time and it's
Hey.
on Thursday. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a great week for us to lose our unlimited Zoom time.
Right.
Oh, sick.
Oh,
That's gonna be a kick in the shorts, but
We gotta figure that out.
we'll figure it out.
yeah, it'll be fun. Hey, do you have a subscription to Zoom? Let
Because
us know.
we're gonna have a trial subscription next week.
What
Without a
email
doubt.
haven't we used? This is the third year in a row.
I'm just starting using my wife's email. You know what? It's never too early for my children to have Gmail accounts, right?
That's perfect.
There we go.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, y'all. We'll see you
Peace out.
at the draft.
Long bracket, but it was a good one.
Oh, yeah.